What's up, y'all? I'm your host, Lil T. Do you guys notice anything different? That's right. I did get a haircut. Thank you for noticing. Oh, and I also exploded my house. Yeah, so long story short, I was trying to recreate my favorite level from New Super Mario Bros. Wii, 1-3. I made this really good replica in my house filled with pipes, question blocks, yes they do float, and mushrooms. I wanted my house to be as interactive as the game itself, so I rigged a bunch of the blocks with sensors and actuators to give them that signature Mario bounce when you hit them. To top it off, I installed a fireball shooting mechanism and a couple of pipes to give it that authentic feeling. Now, everything was going swimmingly until I invited Jacob and Angela over to show them my masterpiece. In my excitement, I accidentally activated the fireball mechanism, and it shot out way more fireballs than I intended. Those fireballs ricocheted around the room like a chaotic game of pinball, and one of them struck my replica bomb, which in hindsight probably shouldn't have been filled with actual explosives. So kaboom! There went my house. Now, thankfully I have some mean insurance negotiators and people are repairing the damage. However, it's gonna be a while until I can go back. So, Ken and Lynn were kind enough to let me stay with them until my house gets fixed.
Would I be able to fix you some blueberry cake?
Oh, why thank you, Lynn. I would love that. And speaking of fixing, let's talk about how Nintendo could fix their approach to mobile gaming. We're gonna delve into their games, find out what works, what doesn't, and what can be improved. Now, Miitomo was Nintendo's first mobile app, released back in 2016. Announced on October 25th, 2015, the game was Nintendo's unexpected foray into the world of social networking, a far cry from the anticipated Mario or Zelda games. The company partnered with DNA to leverage their expertise in mobile platforms and to develop the service's infrastructure and My Nintendo integration. Released in Japan on March 17th, 2016, and in Western territories on March 31st, 2016, Miitomo was the product of collaboration between Tomodachi Life's core developers and Super Metroid director Yoshio Sakamoto. Furthermore, Nintendo announced plans to update the app beyond its launch period. Miitomo is built on the existing global iconography of the Miis and the Mii Maker and the eccentric foundation of the Tomodachi series on DS and 3DS. At its core, it was more like a Tomodachi Life-inspired social media featuring Mii characters. Users could dress their Miis in wacky outfits, customize their appearance, voice, and personality traits. The app encouraged users to interact through question and answer sessions where friends can learn different things about each other, such as food preferences, favorite bands, or who their outlandish crushes were. Miitomo is packed with delightful surprises, such as recognizing certain keywords in users' replies and triggering animations or sounds. Imagine mentioning nervous and witnessing your Mii pulling a goofy, worried face, or typing Nintendo to hear the Mario coin sound. These little details added a layer of charm and kept users engaged and entertained. Miitomo Drop, the app's minigame, dolled out rewards like clothing items and sweets, which were used to unlock replies from friends. However, Miitomo Drop was rather slow, relying on in-game currency or game tickets that were periodically awarded. Surprisingly, there was no censorship in Miitomo, which meant the users could type whatever they wanted without fear of retribution. While this could lead to potentially offensive content, the fact that users were only interacting with close friends mitigated any issues. For those that did encounter problematic content, blocking users and reporting posts was a simple process. However, like my copy of New Super Mario Bros. DS, Miitomo's life was short-lived. In January 2018, Nintendo announced that this game would be discontinued, with its servers being shut down on May 9th, 2018. Despite this, Nintendo also stated that a browser-based Mii Maker tool will be created in late May following the discontinuation of Miitomo. This tool would allow users to transfer and save Mii characters created within the app. And I mean, it's fine, it's more of a Snapchat-style Bitmoji sort of thing, and only really acts as a profile picture, but hey, it's there. Speaking of being there, Super Mario Run. It's listed on the Mario website as a mainline entry. Okay. Oh, where do we even begin with the tale of Super Mario Run? Developed jointly by Nintendo and DNA, this was the first game that Shigeru Miyamoto, yes, the Miyamoto, had his hands on since 2007's Super Mario Galaxy. Now, I want you to cast your minds back to the early 2010s. Nintendo was a bit of a stubborn child, unwilling to share its precious characters with the grubby hands of the mobile gaming market. Satoru Iwata, may he rest in peace, was afraid that they'd lose their identity, that they'd cease to be Nintendo. But, as fate would have it, 2014 wasn't a good year for our dear friends at Nintendo. They were losing money faster than Aiden loses followers every time he posts a selfie. So they made a bold decision to dive headfirst into the mobile market.
The story of Super Mario Run is born out of speedrunners. The folks at Nintendo noticed these adrenaline junkies racing through Mario games without letting go of the right side of the D-pad. Thus, the idea of Mario sprinting like a caffeinated squirrel was born. Then came the moment we had all been waiting for, the release. Announced at Apple's annual iPhone event in 2016 by none other than Miyamoto himself, the game launched on iOS first and then Android. It's basically a Mario Goes Parkour scenario, but let's break down the mechanics. Mario bolts through the level like a plumber late for a job, and you're in charge of timing the jumps. That's it. You tap, Mario jumps. You tap and hold, he jumps higher. You swipe left midair, and he stalls. If he hits a wall, he just slides down and jumps off in the opposite direction. Onto the levels. We've got 24 of these bad boys, and the layout and art style being a throwback to one of the best video games of all time.
Oh wait, that's not right. Oh, it's just the same you. What an imposter.
Where was I? Oh yeah, only this time, everything's been squashed to fit your phone screen. It's like they've taken a full-blown Mario platformer and condensed it into espresso shots of gaming. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, the price tag. You see this game on the App Store, you download it for free, you play the first 3 levels, you're having a blast, and then Nintendo goes, Yahoo! It's like you've been given a taste of the most delicious pasta, and then just when you've twirled your fork for the next bite, they snatch the plate away. But here's the kicker, that $9.99 gets you the full meal. No extra cost, no in-app purchases, no sneaky pay $2.99 to remove ads button hiding in the corner. It's all up front. Of course, there's a catch. It's like the game is a needy pet. It requires a constant internet connection. It's all fun and games until you're on a plane or somewhere where your Wi-Fi signal fears to tread, you know, where you'd want to play a mobile game because you have no internet. Anyway, to sum it up, Mario Run is Nintendo's interesting attempt at giving us a Mario experience on the go, with some unique twists. It's a pocket-sized piece of the Mushroom Kingdom, and despite its funky quirks, it still keeps some of the Mario charm we've all come to love. And let's not forget, this game created quite the stir when it first launched. From the get-go, critics were divided. Some people loved it. They praised Nintendo for creating a unique take on a classic, making it accessible for the mobile market. But not everyone was enamored. There were those who looked at Super Mario Run and saw the face of God, and it was weeping. They thought it was nothing more than just a glorified auto runner, a pale imitation of the console games. They couldn't get over the fact that Mario just, well, ran.
Did you think he was gonna jog?
They complained about the lack of traditional controls, then there were the complaints about the price. $10 felt steep to some, considering the game's relatively short length and simplicity. And let's not forget about the internet requirement, that was probably the most universally panned aspect of this game. Despite the criticisms, Super Mario Run has managed to stick around. It's remained on the top charts of the app stores and has even seen a fair share of updates since its release. It even got nominated for Best Mobile Game at the Game Awards 2017. So it's clear that, for all its faults, there's something about Super Mario Run that resonates with players. Now, let's move on to another one of Nintendo's mobile endeavors, Fire Emblem Heroes. This is where the company decided to take the gacha genre of mobile gaming. For those of you who are not familiar with gacha, it's a type of monetization model that lets players spend real or virtual currency on a randomized item or character. The thrill comes from the chance of getting something rare or powerful, similar to buying a pack of trading cards, or more accurately, spending your money on a slot machine. And I mean, who doesn't love a good gamble, right? Fire Emblem Heroes was actually fairly well received. The game is free to start, and it gives you a decent amount of heroes right off the bat. But, of course, the real powerhouses are hidden behind that sweet gacha mechanic. To Nintendo's credit, the game has some pretty good drop rates, and gives out this game's currency fairly generously. But when you're hunting for that one specific character with the perfect stats, well, looks like I'll have to sell my kidney. Again. The gameplay itself is a simplified version of the main Fire Emblem series. It's a grid-based tactical RPG that challenges you to strategically maneuver your characters across the battlefield. Although the maps are a bit smaller compared to the console versions, they have just the right amount of complexity to keep the battles interesting. The beauty of Fire Emblem Heroes lies in the diversity of characters you can summon from across the entirety of the Fire Emblem universe. It's always exciting to see what characters will appear next. And these aren't just static characters either. They have their own unique skills, weapon proficiencies, and voices done by a wide range of voice actors. The artwork for each character is beautifully done and is often updated with new designs, making the summoning process an absolute visual treat.
Come on, give me Ike!
Fire Emblem Heroes is surprisingly deep for a mobile game. The leveling and skill system, while streamlined, still offers a good amount of customization. You can build your heroes to fit a particular role, and team composition is crucial, especially for the more challenging maps. There are also multiple game modes, including story missions, special maps, PvP battles, and limited time events. However, as with many gacha games, Fire Emblem Heroes isn't immune to the frustration that comes from chasing a specific hero or optimal set of stats, known as IVs. Even though the game gives out its currency, orbs, fairly generously, the RNG can still be pretty ruthless. Nothing quite matches the bittersweet feeling of pulling a rare hero only to find out they have suboptimal stats. And finally, we come to Mario Kart Tour. You'd think that Mario Kart, of all things, would be a perfect fit for mobile. Fast-paced, short races that you can pick up and play anytime. Sounds like a dream come true, right?
Wrong!
This game actually has plenty of good about it. There are new events every 2 weeks called Tours. Each tour has different cups, and each cup has 3 racetracks and a special challenge. There are those themed after characters, those themed after holidays or seasons, and some based on real-life places, like New York, Vancouver, Los Angeles, and Tokyo. The latter being where it gets its name from. You move to the next cup by finishing all the races and challenges in the current one and getting enough Grand Stars. Besides tracks from older Mario Kart games, mostly being ported over from Mario Kart 7, this one adds new tracks, some of which being based on the real-life places that the tour is named after. The game was launched with vertical mode being the only option for a display setting, with horizontal mode being added later. You tap the screen and swipe from left to right to steer the kart. Now, you can also use the gyroscope to steer. You can also jump off a cliff. Every week, one cup in the tour is special because it's a ranked cup. You're put on a leaderboard against 19 other players and your overall score decides your rank. If you're in the top 10 by the end of the week, you get a reward. If you're really close to the top, you move up a tier or 2. I've got to say, the live service aspect of Mario Kart Tour is a double-edged sword. On one hand, the constant updates and new content make the game stay fresh. The introduction of new tracks based on real-world locations and classic courses from previous games adds variety, and I found the new reverse tracks and trick courses to be a decent enough new addition. Yet on the other hand, this constant influx of content means a never-ending grind. If you want to stay competitive, you gotta keep up with the weekly challenges and score as high as possible using the new trick scoring system. When you drift in this game, you start to charge up a mini turbo. Keep it up and you'll get to a super mini turbo, and then finally to an ultra mini turbo. These add points to your score for each race, along with however many points your character and vehicle have. Doing different things in the race, such as hitting people with items or going over boost pads, gets you more points, and your goal is to keep your point streak going.
Look at that score! Not too shabby if I do say so myself.
I like the new concept. It adds a new challenge to the game besides just racing against computers, which is all this game had at launch. Sometimes, if your character is the preferred one for the course, you can trigger a frenzy. This frenzy gives you 3 item slots and briefly makes you invincible, also allowing you to spam the course with whatever item you have. You have a higher chance of getting a frenzy by leveling up your character. And how do you level them up? Well... this is where the gacha system rears its ugly head. Pulling new characters and carts from the pipe using the game's secondary currency, rubies, is thrilling, yes, but it quickly becomes a necessity if you want to stay competitive. And here's where the pay-to-win model becomes apparent. It's all well and good for the whales who are willing to spend big bucks on the game, but it can leave the rest of us trailing behind. Now, there are coins in this game, and they serve up the same sort of purpose as you would expect. You can buy certain things with them, like level up tickets or characters in the daily spotlight section of the store. There's also a mode where you can race as Gold Mario and try and collect as many coins as you can. This makes the inclusion of 2 currencies, 3 with the post-launch green event coins, pretty strange. What's more, this game has an interesting strategy to keep you wanting more. With the myriad of characters available, you'd think you wouldn't want variety, but surprise surprise, specific characters favor each course differently. So if you want to max out your score, you'll often find yourself yearning for that one character you don't have, which sometimes is quite irrelevant to the course theme itself. And then there's the Gold Pass subscription, which costs $4.99 a month and gives you a couple more rewards and challenges to unlock, and 200cc races. That's right folks, you gotta pay monthly for the privilege of going fast.
I'm Sonic the Hedgehog, and I endorse this message.
That was not Sonic. To be completely honest, I used to be really hooked on Mario Kart Tour. I spent easily probably around $1,000 on it, and actually unlocked Mario by buying him. I'm part of the problem, aren't I? And recently, I decided to get back into it, and I've actually been enjoying it quite a bit. Since launch, Nintendo has added plenty of things that would have gone a long way back then when the game first came out. An online multiplayer mode, battle mode, fan favorite courses, Luigi, yes, Luigi was not available at launch, auto mode, event coins, and they actually removed the pulling a pipe mechanic. You can still buy pipes and unlock them with event stars or by completing challenges, and it's far less frustrating. The game is less monetization focused, or more accurately, there's more stuff to distract from the monetization. And now that I've gotten back into it, I can't wait to continue playing it. Come on! After nearly 4 years, on September 11th, 2023, Nintendo revealed they would discontinue developing new content for the game and would instead recycle previous events and tours for the foreseeable future. This game has had 105 tours with lots of new characters and courses. It makes sense for it to be ending now, but you know it's always sad when a game's life cycle is over. To me, what stopped this game from being a bigger success, besides the extremely aggressive microtransactions, were the lack of features at launch. If Nintendo would have waited some more time, launched the game with multiplayer, some of the new features it has now, and way less extreme transactions, this could have been even bigger than it was. But I guess that's just Nintendo's new business model, releasing unfinished games, and by the time all the content is completed, no one cares. Don't get me wrong, you can still enjoy Mario Kart Tour as a free-to-play player. I certainly did for a while. The roster is extensive, though many are just variations of the same character. The gameplay is engaging, and there was a sense of accomplishment in saving up rubies for that one pipe pull. But you've got to have patience and accept that you won't always win, not unless you're willing to pay up. Mario Kart Tour has a lot of potential, it really does. It introduces some innovative ideas that I hope will be incorporated in future games of the franchise. The multiple costumes, creative stages that aren't just variants of the other, leveling up, and the trick system. However, the aggressive monetization and the gacha mechanics definitely did detract from the overall enjoyment. It's a shame, really. What could have been a fantastic mobile version of a beloved franchise feels more like a cash grab, and that's disappointing. Now, with most of the courses being in the Mario Kart 8 Booster Pass and the new content coming to an end, it's safe to say the game is pretty much obsolete for most people. Well, back to Fire Emblem Heroes for me. At least there, where I don't get the character I want, I can blame it on the gacha gods. In Mario Kart Tour, it feels more like I'm racing against my own wallet. And that's a race I'm not keen on winning. And now, we move on to the doctor's office, where we swap shells and banana peels for viruses and pills with Dr. Mario World. Yes, that's right, our favorite plumber decided to get a medical degree somewhere along the way. This game is a unique entry in Nintendo's mobile catalog, offering a more puzzling approach to its gameplay. Dr. Mario World isn't your typical match 3 puzzle game. It takes a unique twist on the genre and combines it with elements from the classic Dr. Mario games. At its core, you have to match the color of the pills with the color of the viruses to eliminate them. But unlike other match 3 games where you move the pieces horizontally or vertically, Dr. Mario World lets you drag the pills up and across the game board. It's like trying to solve a Rubik's Cube while also playing Tetris. This adds an extra layer of strategy to the game and makes it stand out from the rest of the puzzle crowd. As you progress through levels, new obstacles and power-ups are introduced, keeping the game fresh and challenging. From blocks that need to be broken multiple times, to bubbles that float up, the game always keeps you on your toes. And let's not forget the boss battles, which give the game a much-needed sense of variety and urgency. The game isn't just about eliminating viruses, it's about doing so efficiently. But, like most medical practices, Dr. Mario World isn't without its flaws. The biggest one being its energy system. Each level you play consumes hearts, which regenerate over time or can be bought with the in-game currency. This often puts a halt to your playtime, especially when you're stuck on a particularly tough level. And speaking of in-game currency, Dr. Mario World also offers a gacha system for unlocking new doctors and assistants. Each character has their unique abilities that can help you in the levels, making the game a bit easier. However, you're once again at the mercy of the RNG to get the characters you want. I spent hours playing Dr. Mario World, and while the energy system can be frustrating at times, the unique gameplay mechanics combined with the charm of the Mario universe and the insane amount of new Doctor characters kept me engaged. Dr. Baby Luigi. He is glorious. In conclusion, while Nintendo's mobile offerings have their flaws, they each offer unique experiences that can carry the essences of their franchise. From running through the Mushroom Kingdom with Mario, to summoning legendary heroes in Fire Emblem Heroes, to filing for bankruptcy with Mario Kart Tour, and even eliminating viruses as a certified plumber turned doctor in Dr. Mario World, there's something for everyone. Regardless of whether Nintendo's mobile gaming strategy is your cup of tea or not, it's undeniable that they've made some bold moves and taken their franchises into a realm they never ventured into before. We can only hope that they continue to learn from their successes and failures, and use these experiences to improve their approach to mobile gaming in the future.
Tyson, there's a few people at the door from your insurance company.
Oh, what's the matter?
They're saying your policy doesn't cover all your damages from your little remodeling. It seems you don't have the coverage for your self-inflicted explosive damage.
I really should have read the fine print. Well, maybe it's time to upgrade to that superstar policy I've been hearing lots about.
Perhaps you should, dear. Let's go and have some cake.
Well, I guess it just goes to show you should always read the manual before playing the game. I've been your host, Lil T, and I'll see you guys next time.
Cake!